Good morning. I want to welcome you all to my presentation and my vision into the hemp industry in South Africa. And as the slide on the screen indicates, Africa is the future. First, I want to tell you something about myself and how I derived the concept to actually put this presentation together. I'm a positive, constructive nature towards the purpose of my life. A purpose that inspires a burning desire to establish the South Africa industrial hemp industry. In short, SAHI. The next slide indicates what the industrial hemp industry will do from my vision. Our strategy is to address challenges in ways that will enable the industry to thrive and become a major source of jobs, especially for the youth, including value addition from agricultural produce and pursuing aggressive industrialization, providing network abilities for manufacturing businesses in sectors such as agri-processing, light industries, health and pharmaceuticals, biofuels, garments, textiles, food, and the building industry, among others, and implementing policies that will reduce the cost of doing business in the industry. Pursuing policies that will reduce payment charges, stabilize the currency, provide incentives to tourism and the creative industries that will enable them to create jobs, and to invest in skills training and apprenticeships. Through our vision for value addition from agricultural produce, our objective is to prepare 1 hectare of land on 2,500 or more farms across the Eastern Cape and produce clean 1 hectare seed beds per farm for the purpose of planting long, medium and short fiber strands. Our method of achieving this is by contractual means with 2,500 farmers or their agro contractors using their own land, equipment and staff over a 90-day contract period and pay 20,000 Rand per hectare prepared and planted with industrial hemp crops. If I can just elaborate on this, the scale of this project is determined by the amount of farmers we produce the whole project with. This project is only based on the Eastern Cape, so we can go for 2,500 farmers per province in South Africa. And this scale project can be introduced to any country in the world. On this slide, you can see that low security measures are required for hemp. So a simple notice board on the side of the hemp field to say that it is low in THC levels is required. I just want to tell you about the differences of the cannabis sativa alp plant. When we talk about hemp, we talk about industrial hemp. When we talk about cannabis, we talk about medicinal use. When we talk about dagga, we talk about recreational use. And the sooner we actually realize these differences in the cannabis sativa alp plant, we can actually create and establish the industrial hemp industry in South Africa faster and sooner. In the next slide, we are looking at harvesting and retting. By mechanical harvesting methods are being used, and the same contractual means of 2,500 or more farmers with equipment will be used for the harvesting process at 10,000 Rand per hectare. Retting, the hemp is cut, laid in swatches and left to dry. The seed is collected by a combined harvester and the stalks are laid on the ground, retted by molds and bacterial action induced by rains or dew. A manual prepared by the ARC Institute for Industrial Crops and the Eastern Cape Department of Agriculture guideline will be available online for farmers to follow, which I will cover in a later slide. Distribution, the retted stalks are piled by farm workers in kilogram bales at 150 Rand per day for 10 days, 2 workers per hectare. And the crops are then sold and shipped to buyers or any processing plant of the buyer's choice. The buyer in return may sell the core of the plant to the building or plywood manufacturing industries, while the fiber for biodegradable plastic, textile, canvas, etc. The method of achieving this is by employing 5,200 casual workers, community members in the farming areas that takes preference. Farmer profit margin per hectare based at 30%, 208,600 for seed, and 30% for stalks is at 124,200 per hectare. The estimated cost for seed to 2,500 farmers is 521,640,000 for seed, and for stalks 310,500,000. These figures are an assumption based on the possibilities we may experience and is not guaranteed as the official entries we will experience, and is based on extensive research from a real case scenario on the World Wide Web. The next slide is an indication of a local farm in the Port Elizabeth area that we're looking at investment in for hands-on experience and management participation. And I may add that we have got possible investors lined up for the farm environment already. We will experiment with long grain, medium grain and short grain fiber on the farm before we go into the market with the farmers with it. The giant Coca-Cola company has pledged to produce their range of plastic bottle usage as biodegradable bottle towards the year 2018. SAHI will form sustainable partnership with Plastic South Africa, CSIR, DTI and IDC to meet the quality standard sustainable to produce fiber for biodegradable plastic products and multi-different manufacturing plants of the highest standard fit for the South African market and become a major source of jobs. SAHI will start 2 biodegradable plastic manufacturing plants in the Eastern Cape, initiated from profits and with other investment partners. From their best case scenario, hemp fiber sales reached between 2016 and 2018 and pledge also to produce at least 1 hemp brick manufacturing plant in the Eastern Cape in the same time period. SAHI will provide incentives to the tourism and the creative industries that will enable them to create jobs and employ knowledge hemp college students from our hemp college that we will create. On the same slide, you can actually see what the Infono database will look like from the industry that we will create in South Africa, from the 50,000 plus products and services that the hemp plant offers. From SAHI pursuing aggressive industrialization towards emerging markets, we would also be curbing worldwide dilemmas from the word go. And that is why we chose the biodegradable plastic industry to go in first, because the slide that you are seeing now actually is very much self-explanatory. And the question is, why not hemp plastics? They are both biodegradable and non-toxic. And biodegradable bottles, as you can see on the slide, disintegrates in nature within 80 days. The Hemp College is a combined blog and mobile app format. Learners will also be coached into electronic Capri-Pay system and the Infono Business Network as a cheaper way of doing business. The objective is for the mastermind in hemp to join and share their hemp experience and transfer their valuable knowledge to the learner. Methods of achievement: by attracting 50,000 plus learners to register and participate in a specific to the hemp industry course presented by the expert, marketed as a school leaving opportunity straight into an industrial success driven program. Can you imagine channeling 700,000 youth a year into an industry that saves the environment as well? The Infono platform is dedicated to the hemp industry and is developed to form the backbone of South African industrial hemp industry with global expansion capability when worldwide markets agree to participate in the network's standards and regulations. Learners in the Hemp College will be coached into being Infono users. The benefits of using the Infono network in the industrial hemp industry in South Africa and worldwide is users will have one login. It is a cloud scenario, so they don't need licenses for using the office the office tools inside the dashboard, and they will have access to a 4-tier dashboard. In the hemp, the first dashboard that they will have access to is the Hemp College. The second is Infono network itself, where you act the picture that you can see on screen now with the mapping. Users will be able to see other hemp industry participants within a 10-kilometer radius on login. And the CapriPay dashboard, which Dennis will demo to us later on, and also to Visionary, our investment platform. It is an open plan marketing system. It is payment system integrated into CapriPay. It is a search engine in the industrial hemp industry. It is cell phone, tablet, and Windows optimized. And lastly, it has an annual permit and subscription automation process built into it. The objective is to supply a network environment as the backbone to the South African industrial hemp industry, which enable participants to annually renew their participation and electronically receive a permit in their email inbox to attract an estimated 50,000 plus users into the network platform from South Africa and per country in the Africa continent per annum. An annual subscription will allow industry participants to have a product and services marketing tool, and whilst the subscription is conducted, an electronic permit will be issued to each registrar in their respective field for 948 Rand per annum. This will allow SAI immediate and later Africa industrial hemp industry, i.e., and controlled participation of users, growers, and producers. The requirement is internet, smartphone, tablet, laptop, and data. The predictions for the network is with 50,000 subscriptions in South Africa is plus minus 47.4 million Rand. Then the investment opportunity is to partner with already established companies in South Africa. And also, if we look at the investment opportunity here, it's 120 million Rand for this scale project as we're discussing it. It could be more, it could be less. And I'm going to ask Dennis Jenkinson now to run us through the CapriPay payment system.
Good morning, everybody. I haven't been involved in the hemp industry for very long, actually just a few weeks. And I'm very impressed with the fact that Conrad has actually selected the CapriPay system as a payment system for the hemp industry in South Africa and hopefully going into Africa as well. So that is my job today, is to actually explain to you how the CapriPay system works. But before we go any further, I think it's important to just give you a very short history on the history of money so that you understand where we come from and where we're going. Many years ago, up to 5,000 odd years ago, people used to barter most of the time. I'll give you a chicken if you give me your fish. And that was how people lived. Eventually that became a little bit cumbersome. You couldn't change everything all the time. So what happened was people started using gold and silver as money. And this is money. A lot of people will tell you that it isn't the case, but this is a Kruger Rand. It's 1 ounce of fine gold. And this over here is a silver American dollar. Now, people used to carry the money around, but it obviously became a little bit unsafe. If you have to carry a Kruger Rand around now, it's nearly 19,000 Rand. So what happened was people started going into banks and depositing their gold and silver for safekeeping, and in return they received what was called a note. Now that a note enabled them to trade monetary value or value for goods and services. And they carried on using that for many, many years. Now, what actually happened with the banks is when they took that gold and silver in as a deposit, they then started loaning it out again, and that led to a whole lot of other problems. But as the gold and silver slowly but surely was phased out, the bank notes became very much more popular. And I'll show you a quick shot of a banknote prior to 1971. If you have a look at that note, you'll see it says, "I promise to pay the bearer." Now, what actually happened was the fact that your gold was supposed to be in the bank, it meant that if you took your notes to the Reserve Bank and actually asked them for, tendered it in, they gave you that value of gold back. So in other words, money wasn't allowed to be printed unless it was backed by gold. Unfortunately, in 1971, the American president depegged the dollar to gold, and then you started having the pure, what they call fiat currencies, which is basically this 100 Rand note now. It doesn't say "I promise to pay the bearer." It's actually backed by nothing, and it's not even worth the paper it's written on. And this is the money that we're using at the moment. The only reason that this is actually in use is that if I give Conrad over there my 100 Rand, I know that he'll be able to go and buy a cup of coffee with it. As I know I'll be able to buy a cup of coffee with it, but that's its true value. As money developed along with the currencies and all the rest of it, slowly but surely they became more and more electronic. Your banking accounts, you then started using debit cards like these, debit and credit cards. There's masses of them now, all different types. With these cards, obviously there's a little bit of a cost saving and a little bit of, you don't have to carry so much money around with you, and you can purchase things all over the world, but obviously it is quite expensive. It's expensive for the merchants and it's expensive for the people that are actually taking the money. The next development slowly but surely started coming in with the internet. Then you were able to actually transfer money across from one account to the other, or from one person to another, even on the other side of the world. Still expensive, but at the end of the day, quite useful to do, because apart from the huge costs involved, you could get money transferred relatively easily. Now we are in a situation where we've gone back to the barter system again. We have an electronic wallet. The Capri Pay system is an electronic wallet, a digital wallet, which is on your cell phone, and it enables you to transfer money anywhere in the world in virtually any currency that you want, to pay for goods and services. The advantages of that is you can transfer money from one part of Africa. A farmer near Kigali can send 1,000 Rand to a farmer near Koffenwaber to pay for some seed or for some piece of electronic equipment or maybe farming equipment, and that is an instant transfer. Nobody needs to go into a bank or anything. So basically the system that we have now is an app which is loaded on the phone, on your cell phone, and that is your new bartering system. If you have a look at that carefully, it says send and receive coins. Now my wife can phone me, or I can phone my wife anywhere in the world. She can be in Alaska, I can be in Australia, and we can transfer money in any currency we want anywhere in the world, and it's literally instant. It's not, there's no time delay, and the costs are 0.001 of a cent. So it basically means that it's cost-free. I hate to be a prophet of doom, but unfortunately in 2007 there was a financial crash which caused huge repercussions all over the world. The banking system came to within half an hour of crashing in the United States, and only by being bailed out by the American taxpayer was the situation saved. Now unfortunately the problems that caused that crash have never been addressed, and as a matter of fact worldwide it's nearly 50% bigger than it was then, and it's spread over more countries. The 4 biggest economies in the world are all basically in big trouble. The reason why I've brought that up is that it's important, as far as I'm concerned, to explain to people that the financial situation is not going to get any better, and especially in Africa. We do have a situation, places like Greece and Cyprus, where they had what's called a bail-in, which means basically the government just took people's money, deposits at banks, to pay the banks out for their gambling and things that they got up to. So it was very, very unfortunate that the taxpayer was eventually the person who had to foot the bill. But the fact that the problem is recurring and coming back again shortly within the next few months, I think it's rather important to mention that with this cap repay system, we can actually streamline the entire payment system through the hemp industry and, as a matter of fact, in any other industry throughout Africa, where we do not have to rely on the financial system to actually get payments done and to transfer cash and do our day-to-day business. So this is very important. The crash is coming and we can do something about it. Right, we're just going to go through a couple of the advantages of the cap repay system, go through a few slides and just explain to you exactly how it works and the advantages to not only the farmers, but to also their communities in the various areas. Because this is actually it's almost like an economic system that you're setting up for yourself when you actually do go into cap repay. What we have is free mobile applications, and that's very important. Everybody must remember that the whole system is completely free. I can send an application to anybody anywhere on the planet, either by SMS or by email, and they will have it instantly and be able to trade on it within a couple of seconds. It's an advanced electronic online wallet, and what that means is basically it's as secure as a bank account, as a matter of fact more secure than a bank account, and only you have access to it. So there's nobody else that can interfere with it. As a matter of fact, most people wouldn't even know that it's there. It's also an integrated cashback system. In other words, it's like a loyalty program. So if somebody is in a small town and maybe he's gone to everybody in the town that he does business with, he might go to the local restaurant, the local trading store, chemist, things like that, and he gets them to sign up onto the system. What actually happens is he will get money back every time he spends at that particular shop. So if he goes and buys his pills at the chemist, he'll get some money back. And also the people that have referred him will get a little bit of money back as well. It's about 0.5% of the cash back that the merchant actually allows. So it's actually a way of earning extra money on top of it. And some people have actually made a business out of it and are earning a lot of money from those commissions. It's also a merchant marketing system. So in other words, the guy, whoever it is that recommends the chemist, is actually doing that guy a huge favor, because when his customers come in, that chemist or that pharmacy is going to now get his local customers to join as well. When he does that, he will be able to send out bulk SMSs and emails to actually let his customers know when he's got specials on or something like that. So by earning your rewards from the cap repay, just by using your cap repay wallet, you get a certain percentage back. When you recommend other people, you get a percentage of what they spend. And also you get a percentage of the merchants. So in other words, the farmer or whoever it is that recommended that pharmacy, every single transaction where there's a cap repay, in his pharmacy, you'll get a small percentage back in cash. And then one of the biggest things is the appreciation in value of the Capricorns, and this is important as well. The Capricorns have gone up well over 100% in less than a year. So in other words, if you paid 10 euro cents for Capricorns a year ago, they're now worth about 17 or 18 cents, and they've gone up as high as 30. Those prices fluctuate, but there is capital growth in that as well. Just to give you a quick idea of the business model and how it works, the cap repay purchases, the customer gets a little bit of cash back, plus the people that he or she recommends will also get a little bit of cash back from each transaction. From the merchant side, if somebody has actually recommended that merchant, that also goes down 2 levels. So there's a little bit of commission basically for 5 people for every single transaction that takes place. And obviously that can become a fair amount of money on an ongoing basis, and you don't have to do anything. It's what you call a passive income. So it's quite impressive that money will continue coming in even if you're not working in the business and you might be out of the country for that amount of time. That pharmacy is still going to be making you money as you go along.
In conclusion, the solution we have set out in this document have been well considered. They are a response to the real problems faced by the South African people as a result of current global climate change, social, economic, and political instability. This manifesto is our commitment to the South African people. It is a social contract between the South African Africa industrial hemp industry, its development partners, and the people of South Africa. We aim to restore hope and get the industry in excellent working order and relieve the hardships of our people. The plans we have set out are for the long-term, sustainable development of the South Africa industrial hemp industry and our country. With the help of the Almighty God, the South Africa industrial hemp industry will build in South Africa the most business-friendly economy in our Africa continent, which will create prosperity for the great of our numbers of our people and thereby secure the stability of our society and the peace of our nation. We have a well thought out program and a great team of men and women who are ready to serve this industry in South Africa. So support us, and together let's get South Africa industrial hemp industry working. The future is bright. God bless Sayi. God bless us all.